Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, coming at you with my last set of the day. This is going to be from a totally other series, and it's going to be a 7th set. That's cool. Didn't even realize that, but it's going to be Hwasong Oz versus Samsung KHAN. 7th set between this, and as often happens in Winners League, there is a clash of titans, and in this case, we're going to have Jaedong with a new uniform for Hwasong Oz, or until they get rid of Lakehoff on their jerseys in a prominent position. I'm going to call them Lakehoff again because they just will not get rid of the Lakehoff on their uniforms. Like, the Lakehoff always is more prominent than the Hwasong. Like, I don't even know how, but somehow the Lakehoff pops out more than Hwasong on their uniform. So even with their new blue, which I think looks really cool, I think that looked pretty stylish even on Jaedong. So that was pretty cool. That's what's there for Hwasong Oz. You know they're playing Samsung KHAN, so who else would it be? Who else could possibly provide some epicness? Of course, it's Stork. And it's going to be on match point. Stork in the bottom left and Jaedong in the top right. Should be very cool. There's January looking very, very intent with her January-ness, her strategery. She is the strategerizer for Samsung KHAN, and she's helped get her team to this set, this final showdown, and you know, this is what it's all about. This is Game 7. It's what it's all about. You have the top players from each team. Jaedong, the best player in the world, maybe Flash being the best player in the world, certainly one of the top 2 players in the world. The two of them just head and shoulders above everyone else, it seems. But Stork is not a man to be discounted. Yes, he maybe hasn't won a Star League in a little while, which is why his, especially in like ELO ranking and things like that, why he's several hundred points behind Flash and Jaedong. But do not discount Stork at all. Stork is just that good. Stork has always been good. Just traditionally been a very, very, very powerful player. And we do have that 12 hatch that went down for Jaedong, so should be able to counter with a quick Nexus as well for Stork. Doesn't even have to bother to write down a Forge, which is nice for him. I don't even know if he actually like canceled a Forge. I think he actually saw that so early that he didn't even have to cancel Forge, which is very, very cool. Since this is a 2-player map, occasionally that can happen if you get a good scout in nice and early. And Stork's just going to be harassive here with his inside probe, and Jaedong just fending it off with a single drone chasing it around. I don't even know if he really even needs to bother doing that, and it doesn't look like he is. I think that drone's going to be sent out. I don't know if it's going to be scouting or sending out for another base. I don't think he really needs to send a scout, so I think he could be going for setting up his 3rd hatchet really, really quickly, which is not at all uncommon anymore. That is a pretty common way to play, pretty common way for the new style of Zerg, the new macro Zergs to really play their game, is to go for that early 3rd base. And on match point, it's a little bit difficult. I gotta say, on match point, it's a little bit difficult to hold that 3rd base. If you look on the map, that is the logical next place for Jaedong to go, is that bottom right hand base. But that is a long reinforcement route from his main and natural. It's a tough spot to defend, and successful Protoss players will try and abuse that distance, try and hit that base, maybe even like just put pressure on that base and try and open up avenues of attack in other areas at the natural, or just try and catch the army out and about. There's lots of ways that you can do it, but definitely that base is the weak link in the Zerg lineup in the early game, and should definitely be exploited when it's taken, which it usually is. And you'll see the top Protoss players are able to take advantage, are able to put some pressure on there, are usually able to do some damage, and be annoying in some way. And the bottom ones generally don't. And 2 Zerglings for Jaedong just slipping through. Stork, what the heck were you doing? That Zealot for Stork looked like it was on like rally and didn't even bother trying to hold up the Zerglings at all. I mean, if they had, they would have been pretty successful, I think. But no, now he's going to lose a probe to these Zerglings. He's going to lose a significant amount of mining time with several probes as well. So that just sucks for him. I mean, that's just some sloppy play there from Jaedong, or from Stork. He really should have been able to keep those Zerglings out, or at least do more damage to them. And the Zealot for Stork is just not going to do anything, and this is kind of reminiscent of what Cal did versus Jaedong in the OSL semis, MSL semis, MSL semis, I think is what it was. And Cal sent his early Zealots out to try and do pressure on a couple of occasions. Either he'd send out 1, or he'd send out, I think he also sent out like a 3 Zealot attack as well. Both of them were highly unsuccessful against Jaedong, and really both of them were like, what, why? And luckily, Stork hasn't lost nearly as many probes as Cal did when he allowed a couple couple Zerglings, and I think Cal lost something like 4 probes, and it looks like Stork's losing a second probe, so maybe he will eventually lose that many. But this is bad for Stork. This is just really disappointing to me that to see Stork make this kind of a mistake. And he has a second cannon up at his natural expansion, but a lot of Zerglings coming in right now. A lot of Zerglings going to come in here. I don't know if they're going to go for a run-by or not. They could, but there's a couple photon cannons. A lot of them are going to go down, and it looks like they are going to go for a run-by, going to go right behind the mineral lines there, but a Zealot is there to meet them, but not able to pick any off, so there's going to be 6 Zerglings inside of Stork's base, and this could be painful. Now we could see a lot of probes go down, and Stork's going to have some great probe micro here. As a Zealot, he's lost 2 probes so far to this attack. So I think a total of 4, maybe 5 probes have gone down that I've seen so far, which is really, really bad for him. And it's only cost Jaedong so far 4 Zerglings, I think he's lost, and he's still got 4 alive to continue doing damage. So this is looking really good for Jaedong right now with this early pressure, doing a lot of damage. It looks like he might be able to pick off yet another probe. That's another probe gone down. So, you know, if this is starting to look a lot like that game versus Cal, slightly different in the numbers of Zerglings, you know, that were used to cause the damage, but very similar in the fact that early Zerglings have gotten into the Protoss base and caused havoc. So Cal was very far behind that game, played valiantly, but was unable to really make a strong comeback in that game. So we'll see if Stork's able to maybe do a little bit better there. Down 5 probes, hasn't done any damage at all whatsoever, just been taking and absorbing damage right now. Let's see if he's able to do any better. We got 3 Zealots and a Dragoon pushing out right now. The Zerglings for Jaedong are all dead, so this is an interesting little counterattack here. I think it's actually a pretty wise decision when your opponent has spent all of his early Zerglings. Most Zerg players, that's going to be all the Zerglings that they produce early on. We'll see if Jaedong has thrown down a second colony as natural, or maybe produce some more Zerglings to defend. Otherwise, those 3 Zealots could really do some damage. But it looks like some Zerglings are out in the open, and that's what Stork's really trying to take down right now. He's trying to find the Zerglings. He's going to try and get whatever little advantage he can. Maybe try and find an Overlord. If he was really, really lucky and happy, he'd find an Overlord and be able to take it down. But I don't think he's going to be able to do that. It does look like we're going to be seeing a Sayer DT combo coming out here. Just 1 Stargate pumping Sayers, and Templar Archives finishing up right now, and a Zealot being caught. Stork once again a little bit sloppy, and you know, it's one of those things where against most Zerg players, I think that Stork would have been able to get that Zealot up the ramp, because I think that Zealot just kind of glitched out there. But it's kind of like when you play Flash and you make little tiny errors, and suddenly you've lost 2-3 units, and you're just like, what? That usually never happens, because most players won't be able to make you pay for it. But Jaedong is on that level with Flash. Both of these players will make you pay for tiny errors, and that's a situation right there. 2 situations already, I think, in that the first Zealot for Stork went out rather than stop those Zerglings from getting in, and that Zealot there, already 2 Zealots had died because of just very, very minor mistakes. And this Corsair looks like, wow, that is called threading the needle between all those Hydralisks and the Scourge. I'm going to see the 4th base going up as well, and that's kind of audacious there for Jaedong. Normally you see the 4th and 5th hatcheries within the natural and the 3rd for players, but it looks like then the 3rd base is getting 1 hatchery, and instead of throwing out a 2nd hatchery as a natural expansion, he's going to try and take that mineral only and try and get the entire right side of the map, which is an interesting decision by him. We do have a couple DTs out that haven't been able to do much of anything. Overlord's strategically positioned around, and Stork has just not been able to do anything. Wow, Stork is just, I don't know what Stork's going to need to do. Stork's going to need to do something here to cut back in this game. He's lost, he's done nothing, essentially, and it's just been Jaedong doing things to him. And this is interesting. This could actually help him out, catching some of these Zerglings out in these mineral lines, playing some nice micro games with his Zealots there. I don't think he's lost a Zealot yet, and doing a good job